The US and Iran had been secretly negotiating during the past year in a high-stakes diplomatic gamble by the Obama administration that paved the way for the deal sealed early on Sunday in Geneva, aimed at curbing Tehran's disputed nuclear drive. That's according to a new Associated Press report.
So we know of at least 5 secret talks. There was a talk in March that happened in Oman, and then there were other talks that happened after Rouhani was elected, but before these public discussions happened. And officials have been pretty secretive about where the talks exactly happened, and that's in part because they want to be able to preserve these locations for future secret talks.
The talks were reportedly held in the Middle Eastern nation of Oman and elsewhere, with only a tight circle of people in the know.
From the U.S. side, the top 2 officials were Deputy Secretary of State Bill Burns and an official named Jake Sullivan, who used to be at the State Department and currently actually serves as Vice President Biden's top national security official. Bill Burns is someone who has worked on the Iran issue for several years. Jake Sullivan is someone who is really widely respected at the White House and at the State Department. And between the 2 of them, they really forged pretty strong relations with Iranian officials, both before the election and after the election.
The rapprochement between Tehran and Washington had been building for some time, a potential pact which infuriated close U.S. ally Israel.
The U.S. kept the March meeting from its allies because they didn't consider it to be a meeting of substance. But they did have to brief Israel and its 5 negotiating partners about these meetings that happened during the fall. And the president handled the most sensitive of these briefings himself, and that was with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu was scheduled to come to the White House for a visit on September 30th. Obama personally briefed Netanyahu on the U.S. bilateral talks with Iran, and just days after that briefing, Netanyahu went to the United Nations for a speech, one that he gives every year, in which he really blasted the Iranian regime. He called Rouhani a wolf in sheep's clothing, and it became pretty clear that whatever President Obama had said to him in their conversations earlier in the week hadn't done much to assuage his concerns.
Israel says the deal is a historic mistake, but for now the West seems to be persuaded that Iran's insistence that its nuclear interest is only in peaceful energy production and medical research should be tested.